here is something nobody wants to say out loud. If you are in the top 25% of earners in Canada, you probably do not feel rich. You feel tired. You feel stretched. You feel, most of all, like the squeezed middle class. This is the strange bracket, where a high T4, a genuinely good paycheck, the kind your parents would have called a small fortune, collides head-on with the brutal, grinding reality of what it actually costs to live in this country in 2026. On paper, you are winning. On the 15th of the month, staring at your account, it does not feel like winning at all. So, let's talk about the real number. Let's talk about what it actually takes to get here, why the people who make it are quietly some of the most anxious earners in the entire country, and what the statistics are hiding from you. To crack the top 25% of Canadian households, you need a combined gross income of roughly $145,000 a year. That is the line in the sand. Cross it, and, statistically, 3 out of 4 households in Canada are sitting behind you. Now, if you are single, carrying the whole thing on one set of shoulders, the threshold is lower. For a single worker, the top 25% starts closer to $92,000. And those are big, respectable, hard-won numbers. The kind of numbers that 20 years ago meant a cottage, a boat, and a comfortable retirement on the horizon. Hold on to that feeling for just a moment, because this is exactly where the story turns against you. Gross income is an illusion. It is a number that exists on a document and almost nowhere else in your real life. Let's actually run the household. $145,000 combined. Before a single dollar of that ever lands in your account, the CRA is already standing at the door with its hand out. Federal tax begins at 14%, then climbs to 20.5%, then 26% as you move up through the brackets. Your province takes its own separate cut on top of that. Then CPP is pulled out. Then EI is pulled out. And by the time every one of those deductions has cleared, that impressive $145,000 has quietly shrunk to somewhere in the neighborhood of $107,000 in actual take-home pay. You did not lose that money to a bad decision, a vacation, or a splurge. You lost it before you were ever given the chance to make a single choice with it. Now that take-home has to run an entire household, and this is where the squeeze stops being a feeling and becomes math. Start with the mortgage. The average Canadian home now sits near $823,000, and the real trap in 2026 is not buying, it is renewing. Millions of families locked in their terms at around 2% during the pandemic, back when money was practically free. Those terms are now expiring, all at once, and they are renewing at 4 to 5%. Same house, same family, same 4 walls, but a mortgage payment that has suddenly jumped by hundreds of dollars every single month in exchange for absolutely nothing you can see, touch, or enjoy. That is the quiet emergency landing on kitchen tables across the country right now. Then there is the grocery bill. Call it Loblaws and Sobeys fatigue. A family of 4 is projected to spend over $17,572 on food in 2026. That is nearly $1,000 more than the year before for the exact same cart of groceries. Food prices are now 27% higher than they were just 5 years ago. That is roughly $1,460 a month, vanishing at the till, before anyone has eaten out even once. And here is the specific cruelty aimed right at this bracket. You earn too much to qualify for the rebates, the benefit checks, the relief programs, but you still pay the exact same premium prices at the register as everyone standing in line beside you. You absorb the full sticker shock, and you receive none of the support designed to soften it. And then there is transportation. The family SUV that somehow stopped being a luxury and quietly became a requirement for the car seats, the hockey gear, the commute that no transit map has ever managed to cover. Add Canadian auto insurance rates, which seem to climb every single year, no matter how clean your record is, and you are now staring at another mortgage-sized line item sitting right there in your driveway. Maxing out the TFSA, fully funding the RRSP. For a household this squeezed, those are not habits. They are fantasies you tell yourself you will start next year. So, let's change the question entirely. Because income is just cash flow, it is only the water moving through the pipe. Real wealth is what you actually own once the water stops. And to be in the top 25% of Canadian households for net worth, you need roughly $980,000. Almost a millionaire. And this is exactly where Canada gets genuinely strange. A huge number of Canadians are millionaires on paper and completely broke in practice. Their entire net worth is trapped inside the walls of a house in Burnaby or a modest semi in Oakville, that tripled in value while they were asleep and doing nothing. On the balance sheet, they look wealthy. In the checking account, there is $10 and a mountain of anxiety. You cannot send your kid to university with a kitchen backsplash. You cannot retire on a house you still have to live inside of. That is the real estate trap in a single sentence. Enormous, dazzling wealth that you can see clearly and cannot spend at all. And even the wealth you think you can spend is smaller than it looks. Ask most Canadians what a secure retirement actually costs, and the number that comes back is roughly $1.7 million. Suddenly, that $980,000 net worth, the one that felt almost like a finish line a moment ago, is barely past the halfway mark. Strip out the house you still have to live inside of, and the RRSP that the CRA will tax on the way out, and the truly free, truly spendable portion of your wealth is a fraction of the headline number. The squeeze does not stop when you stop working. It just changes its name. And none of these numbers ever mean the same thing twice, because geography quietly rewrites every one of them. $145,000 makes you genuinely, comfortably wealthy in Winnipeg or Saskatoon. Detached house, room to breathe, real money left over at the end of the month. Now take that exact same $145,000 and drop it into Toronto or the Lower Mainland, and it makes you squeezed. Same income, same effort, same skills, a radically different life. Think of it as regional purchasing power. The dollar in the GTA and the dollar on the prairies are simply not the same currency, even though they carry the same maple leaf. Now step back, way, way back. Because for all of that pressure, and make no mistake, the pressure is real, and it is heavy, a top 25% Canadian household still sits comfortably inside, roughly the top 2% of the entire global population. By the measure of the whole planet, and by the measure of almost all of human history, you are extraordinarily, almost unimaginably fortunate. And both of these things are true at the very same time. You can feel squeezed on your own street and be genuinely rich on the map of the world. Neither feeling is lying to you. Which brings us, finally, to the real trap. The one that has nothing at all to do with the CRA, the mortgage, or the price of groceries. The comparison trap. Because we never measure our lives against that comfortable family in Saskatoon, or against the global average, or against our own grandparents. We measure our ordinary, hard-earned, middle-class life against the luxury life, scrolling endlessly past on a screen, the vacations, the renovations, the effortless highlight reel that was never once real to begin with. And held up against that, we will always, every single time, feel poor. So here is the one truth worth carrying out of this. True wealth was never the number printed on the T4. True wealth is the gap between your income and your ego. Close that gap, even a little, and you may just discover that you were sitting in the top 25% of something that actually mattered all along. If you learned something, make sure to like and hit subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.